today's video, I finally get around to opening my MozArt Komorebi 6 Classic Metallic watercolor set that I got for Christmas. It actually took me a long time to get to this. I didn't do this video all the way until April. But I'm finally happy to finally open my Christmas presents. I pre-wet the paints before trying them out, and I'm working on different circles where I show the different transitions between the colors, as well as some swatches. I do one swatch I'm going to store with my main swatches on black paper and one on white. Later I'm also going to do the same kind of wheel but on black paper. The colors are copper, rose gold, bronze, yellow gold, light gold, and silver. The light gold is a very lemony yellow metallic, and the rose gold is a gorgeous kind of champagne rose gold makeup color, and it's the only metallic watercolor I've seen that has that color. The light gold, that's a very almost lemony yellow metallic, is also a little more unique. The exact shade of the silver is different than the exact shades of silver I have from other brands, and I'm finding all of them are slightly different shades and really gorgeous than ones I have. So it's a really good set to get even if you already have other metallic watercolors. And I would also say that they are fairly opaque when they're thick, so I would, classify them as a gouache watercolor kind of thing, but that's true about the metallic watercolors in general. You can water them down and turn them more into a shimmer, but when used thickly, they are more opaque and creamy and thick. They also can work on dark colored papers as well, and they're very beautiful. Now they look slightly different, but they're more on the similar looking side. It's just the color in the background does shine through and affect everything, and that's true about any gouache or any watercolor that you're using on any colored paper. But I do find the contrast between the metallic watercolors on a very dark paper or a black is more extreme, and in some ways that does bring out the beauty of it more. So I do advise you try it on different types of paper. And when it comes to testing out metallic watercolors, I always advise also swatch them and do these color blend wheels. Do that on black paper as well if you have black paper right now, of course, and consider using them on very dark paper. As you can see, I'm doing the blends on these wheels by starting with a larger amount of one color. Then I take a little bit of the next color after rinsing off my brush and add it in, going along adding more and more of the next color until we get a mix next to the next color that is almost entirely that color versus the opposite. And then we can get a nice gradient, a nice gradation of one color shifting into the next. And these sort of little color palette circles that were inspired by stuff I found online are extremely useful. You don't have to do them in classic rainbow color order. You can do any colors, and it's a really good way of keeping track of what color mixes your watercolors and gouache and maybe even other paints like acrylic can do. And I store them in little books. As you can see, of the two here, the one on top is in a book I'm keeping. The other one is meant to be a gift. Overall, I have to say I really like them. They're very high quality. For me, they're very similar to the Kuretake Ganseitambi Starry colors, but they are different colors. So if you already have that set, this is a good set to have as well. I found it on Amazon. It was only $13.99 in Canada, in Canadian dollars when I got it. It was a Christmas present that I ordered for myself, basically, and people just gave me cash for Christmas, which works out well because I'm really good at finding deals and knowing what I want. So that works out great for me, and I love it so much. And I really am enjoying these colors. Now that I finally have them open and have this video filmed, I can now use them whenever I want, and they definitely add to my collection. I don't necessarily use my metallic watercolors every 2 minutes, but they're the kind of thing that you purchase and they just stay good for the foreseeable future. And you can just pull them out when you do need them for an artwork. And who knows, I might get in the mood to do a lot of metallic artwork. Now, one of the things I have to say here is that I have a fish I made up called the Beauty Balin fish, which is supposed to have a bunch of different color varieties and species. And it's supposed to be kept as a pet fish on my main world of Alpha Vetar. And I've been inventing a series of beautiful animals that function as pets and familiars so that I have beautiful options of different types of animals. And in that series, this is the Beauty Balin fish. And I pencil it out with a white Derwent drawing pencil using the Faber-Castell dust-free eraser because it erases anything. As I paint the beauty ballinfish, I'm also going to be filling in the black circle, palette circle, which I end up gluing in on the opposite page to the other color wheel you saw earlier. Not only are these very nice, I used an extremely dark blue that's almost black for the beauty ballinfish. I had prepared a frame from before, and the artwork actually is in a smaller section where the glass of the frame would be, but the actual size of the paper is a bit larger. I end up trimming off part of the bottom to make it sit a little lower in the frame so it looks better and doesn't have anything cut off. And I decide to just wing exactly what I'm going to do for the coloration as I go along, trying to use as many different colors as reasonable here without overdoing it. I also leave some of the color of the paper shining through to become part of the painting, which is also something you can do. You can let the color of the paper underneath affect how you're painting it. So it saves you work and trouble. You can save the darkness of the paper for the shadows. You can also water down paints, especially gouache and watercolor, so that it makes more of a translucent layer so that the paper color shines through. I do this on colored cardstock actually fairly often, and it works really well. The other thing you can do is go over it with other medium, including colored pencils. At the end here, I add, without filming it, I used a little bit of really dark brown and black to add a couple lines at the end to just differentiate how the fish should look. And I add a white highlight. I just used a white gel pen to add the white highlight in the eye to make it better, but you'll see it at the end. Overall, I really like how this fish looks, and I have this picture up now, and I really am enjoying looking at it because it makes me happy. And it's really important sometimes to just, if you're making up things, if you're inventing OCs, if you find you like something, like you like beautiful animals, you can invent your own species of beautiful animals to paint. You don't have to only be stuck to living and extinct real animals. You can also make up your own animals, and I think that's something that people should remember. And they don't even always have to be super magical. Like the beauty ballinfish is just supposed to be a fish. It's not necessarily magical, except for the special magical variants that can also exist. Sometimes you can just make up an animal so you can create your own species in order to paint and draw, and it doesn't have to be for anything other than the purpose of your art either. You don't have to use it, but you can also use it for fantasy stories and world building and tabletop role-playing games and all sorts of stuff. So just remember that you have the freedom to create what you would prefer. So I'm just going through here the same process as before, except I'm working on black paper. Obviously, this entire video is extremely sped up, and I have edited it down. So there is stuff that has been edited out, such as a lot of the time spent rinsing off the paintbrush is very sped up and also edited out in some cases. The other thing I advise that I've been doing is I've been keeping specific jars full of the sparkling water, and I use a specific jar or couple jars when I use the metallic paint. That way I can get rid of the water through evaporation or other means and reuse the sparkles at the bottom of the jar to make my own custom watercolor and gouache that's sparkly, because you can reuse that. So it's just an additional tip that I've been finding really useful. And if you have some empty half or full pans, you can mix up custom colors. You can always do that, but you can also reuse the sparkles and make your own metallic paint out of that, or shimmering paint that has just a bit of a shimmer rather than being overwhelmingly metallic like these are. So here's the final look at the beauty ballinfish. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you with another one very soon.